before you spend $20,000 on a course, look at you. Do you ever finish anything? Am I hitting too hard?
No, go ahead.
Do you ever finish anything? And what's different about this? Do you execute once you finish? What's different? Do you quit once you execute?
Wow.
What's different?
Yeah.
Right? Do you blame others after you quit? What's different? Right? The course was a scam. You didn't watch the modules.
Yeah.
Right? And once you did, you didn't execute. And once you did, you didn't keep going. How can you learn? The best learning is through activity knowledge. I don't even offer a course. So this is not even like me, taking this personally. I'm just saying what I know from me working with so many people,
right,
is that this you factor piece is key.
If you're a go-getter, faith-driven and family-focused and need to break through to your next level, this is the podcast for you. Your self-talk can reshape every area of your life. It's time to dream and think big. Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience with Darnell and Tracy Self. It's time to elevate, baby. Let's get into the show.
Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience. Is it Thursday? Is it Thursday, babe?
Always Thursday.
Always Thursday. How you guys doing out there today?
I'm doing great. Are you talking to them or talking to me?
I'm talking to everyone.
Okay, well, I'm doing great.
I'm talking to our Self-Talk family. How are you doing today, babe?
Hey, every Thursday we launch the Self-Talk Experience, where the things we say to ourselves about ourselves eventually determines what and even who we attract for ourselves. So I'm excited to be with you, my co-host Tracy Self, and today we're going to talk about the you factor. Y-O-U.
We're talking about me?
You too. But just you in general. But yeah, the you factor.
Okay, what are we saying?
So look, there are a lot of variables in life that you have to consider. Otherwise, you end up judging. Like, I don't understand why they would say this. I don't understand why they would do this. I don't understand why they're still in this situation.
Right.
And the you factor is key. And let me explain why.
Well, everybody's different and everybody's gone through different experiences, right?
Yeah.
And we all tend to have our own opinions and we look at things very differently. Sometimes the same, but sometimes very differently.
Yeah. No, you're right. But the key is that person, that you, has to take full responsibility for where they are. And that's what I'm going to get to today, because this self-talk is going to be critical. Because one of the things that we have to do first, whenever we want to move in a different direction, when we want to create some change, is we have to be honest with ourselves through some self-reflection, right? To some admittance that, you know what, I am where I am based on what I've done, but I'm willing to change those things.
But you know what happens? Sometimes we get caught up in not really looking at ourselves, but looking at other people.
Yeah.
And then that gets to be, then you're going into the judgmental category.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and the whole comparison thing.
Yes.
Yep.
So taking responsibility and just take a snapshot of yourself.
Yep.
You have to put the blinders on and not go into the comparing mode. Because you can look at yourself and say, I'm here, but at least I'm not there.
Yep.
So but you're really not at a good place at all.
Yeah.
But you're making yourself at a good place because you're looking at what is happening around you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that the direction you're going in? Or
No, I am. Let me share with my thought. Let me share with you what my thoughts are on this whole you factor thing. But you're spot on. So let's say you bought a digital course or you took a real estate class.
Okay.
Anything, right? Doesn't matter. So let's just use digital courses, because there's a lot of digital courses out here today on, how to succeed in Airbnb, how to succeed in Turo, how to succeed in being an entrepreneur, how to succeed and get your mind right, how to stay motivated, how to stay consistent. I can go on and on, right? There's courses for everything. And there's some great courses out there, by the way. So I'm knocking these courses. These courses are awesome. We have friends that offer those courses. Courses on how to do a podcast. We took that course by our friend David Shands.
Absolutely.
So there's some amazing courses out here, but this is where I'm getting to with the you factor. Same course. Take the same situation from two separate people.
Okay.
So these folks, these two separate people had the exact same amount of money in their bank account. They've read the same books.
Okay.
And getting started and learning how to be a better podcaster, let's say. took the same course. What's the difference between someone who takes the course and who's successful if the same teacher's present, the same curriculum,
right,
or modules that they watched? And that may not even be true because of the you factor. So
did they really do the exact same thing?
This is what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
This you factor thing, and this is why, look, before you spend $20,000 on a course, look at you. Do you ever finish anything? Am I hitting too hard?
No, go ahead.
Do you ever finish anything? And what's different about this? Do you execute once you finish? What's different? Do you quit once you execute?
Wow.
What's different?
Yeah.
Right? Do you blame others after you quit? What's different? Right? The course was a scam. You didn't watch the modules.
Yeah.
Right? And once you did, you didn't execute. And once you did, you didn't keep going. How can you learn? The best learning is through activity knowledge. I don't even offer a course. So this is not even like me, taking this personally. I'm just saying what I know from me working with so many people,
right,
is that this you factor piece is key. This is why we have to work on us, because I have to be consistent. I have to be dedicated. I may have to have accountability. I may have to, right? So these are all things that allow me to say, okay, what's going to make the difference this time?
Right.
And the reason why I can speak to this and not feel like I'm being judgmental, not feel like I'm beating up on anybody, because I'm talking to me. I was the guy who started and didn't finish. I was a guy who started who did it for a little bit and then quit. I was a guy who doubted myself and had low self-esteem and wondered if it ever be me, and my self-talk was horrible. And that's why it's easy for me to talk about this, babe, because I've been there.
Right, right.
So I know that the you factor was key. It's like, okay, sure, I'm going to make mistakes. It's inevitable that you're going to make mistakes if you're doing something you've not done before.
But what was the switch in you then? Because you said you used to be that guy.
Yes.
So what was the switch in you that now you're not that guy?
Yeah, I worked on me. It wasn't that the course changed, and don't get me wrong, great courses. It wasn't that the teacher changed, and sometimes you can have some horrible teachers though. But if you got a great teacher,
Sure.
It's not the teacher.
Yeah.
If you got a great curriculum, it's not the curriculum. It's not the education.
And even if you have great people around you, it's still you.
It's you.
You can have the best
there are people
cheerleaders.
who have the best. Your sister says, we got to have your sister on this podcast. Your sister says this all the time. She says, I've had access to some of the best, but until I was ready to take advantage of having access to the best, it didn't matter.
Right. Because you can have the best cheerleaders around you
Yep.
all day, every day, wanting it almost more for you than you want it for yourself.
That's exactly right.
And it happens all the time to us.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Yes.
So this you factor, all I'm saying is that, you've got to get to a place where you say, I take responsibility because I'm weak in this area. Mm-hmm. It allows you to either, one, put people around you who are better in that area so that you don't have to be the best in that area. You don't have to be the best at everything, by the way, to have massive success in life. You're good at what you do. That's your gift. But then because you were willing to be honest with yourself about the things you aren't good at, whether it's administrative.
That's a big word, though.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of us who feel like we have to do everything.
I know.
We have to do everything.
Been there too. I'm still overcoming that delegation, right? That's the area that I'm focusing on.
Right.
Because I feel like if it's going to be done right, I got to do it. And that's it's egotistical, quite frankly, because what it says is that nobody else can do it like you can.
Yeah, but excuse me, sometimes you have to give people a shot at trying.
No, you're right.
Because if you're so closed off, you think it, but you just have to ask and be open.
Yeah, not if it's costing you money, though.
Well, but that's trial and error.
No, it is. You're right.
Right?
You're right.
You have to try it. And if it doesn't work, okay, let's go back to the drawing board and figure it out.
But here's what I like about that. If the people you're hiring are the people who you have on your team are also willing to accept it's the you factor with them, then at least they're willing to say, hey, Mrs. Self, I'm going to show up early.
Right.
I will stay late. I will do whatever the task is. I will work hard at it. I will study and show myself approved at it. Because they want to be in the association. They believe in the mission of whatever it is, the vision that you created for your company.
Right, right.
And so if they're willing to learn, I found it's better to work with someone who has this self-reflection and looks at taking full responsibility for everything, and they understand it's the you and them, right? They understand the you and themselves is what's necessary to win. I'd rather have someone like that who doesn't have all of the skills than have someone who has all of the skills and doesn't take any responsibility.
Wow.
So as long as it's a skill that this person has a gift that they can gain, right? Then I'd rather have that person. So my point in saying all of this, though, is that I want all of us, right? And I'm only asking you to do what I'm willing to do all the time, which is take a look at myself and say, what can I do to create a better outcome in this? Whatever it is, relationship, business, what can I do? Podcasting.
But you have to also be open to asking the questions.
Yeah.
Because when you don't ask the questions, you're left to wonder.
Yep.
You know, like you're wondering, it's the you factor. What is it about me that I can't be successful at this? What is it about me that this relationship just isn't quite working? What is it about me that my kids aren't getting it? So you have to you can't just wonder because you're left to your own thoughts.
Right.
So you have to maybe have people that you can trust, that you can have these conversations with and be open enough to say, can you help me out here?
Yeah.
What is your take on this?
Yeah.
But it has to be someone who you feel like can really give you an honest, credible answer to. Right.
Yeah, and someone who's done it, someone who's been there. That's helpful, right? Like you don't want to ask a health professor that's not healthy about health.
No, yes, I get that.
Right? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So you want to make sure that you, I just think about my health professor. He was like, he had a smoker's cough like that. I'm like, dude, you should not be teaching health. That's what I used to think all the time. I'm like, man, this is not the right class for you.
But he could be teaching from his failures and say, hey, don't do this because this is why I'm very unhealthy. So he might be a good person, actually.
Yeah, but sometimes it's a time where you have experienced something and you've come out of it is the best time to share your testimony. If you're still in it.
Not while you're going through.
Exactly. Like I may not want to hear, don't like, yeah, man, I'm gonna teach you how to be successful. Right now, I'm dealing with this foreclosure. That's not the time. I'm not actually trying to follow you to success right now. Even though you've learned from your foreclosure,
that's true.
I'd rather you come out of it first and then teach me how you came out of it now that you're successful with it. Because all you can show me now is how to go into foreclosure.
So somebody who's been through it, but someone that's not going through it.
Right, who's come out of it is better.
Yeah, because you can't really ask somebody about relationship advice that's going through it with you, right?
I mean, you could bounce things back and forth on what's not working. So but you can't really say what is working.
Sure.
Unless they've come through it and have learned through it on how to have a healthy relationship somewhere else.
Right. That's true. Okay. Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, I hope that this episode has really helped folks to think through this whole you factor piece. Because I just don't want folks blaming an opportunity, blaming the course, the class, the teacher, if they haven't taken full responsibility and taken a look at the you factor first. And yes, it could be the course, and yes, it could be the teacher, but all those variables, if all those variables are the same for everybody else and someone else did succeed and you didn't, you have to ask yourself, is the you factor involved? And that's the way I look at it with myself. If somebody else did it, with those exact same factors, maybe it's the you, maybe it's something in me. And that allows me to get better because it forces me to look at myself.
And to just make a change.
That's it.
Just make that shift, right?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, another episode of the Self-Talk. Remember the things we say to ourselves about ourselves. And we say that so fast sometimes, I don't want to go over your head.
Right.
The things we actually say to ourselves about ourselves.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Eventually will determine, not can, not should, not possibly, will determine what you attract for yourself and even who you attract around you. So let's make sure that we got some positive self-talk. Talk good to yourself.
Thank you for listening to the Self-Talk Podcast with Darnell and Tracy Self. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. And we'll see you next time. And remember, talk good to yourself.